Yo, welcome back to Footballology. So I didn't get to make day 2, day 3, and today's day 4 of the NFL Combine. I didn't get to make any videos for those days. So I'm kind of just going to do one big package video right here for you guys. So it's going to be pretty long. Hope you stay tuned in. It's going to be a pretty good video. I got a lot to say, so stay tuned.
Drop down and shake it, shake. Drop down and shake it, shake. Drop down and shake it, shake. Drop down and shake it. Drop down and shake it, shake. Drop down.
So first we're going to start with day 2. I already made my day 1 video. If you haven't seen that one, go check that out. I had some things to say about that day. But day 2 really intrigued me. Obviously, it's because it was the quarterbacks and wide receivers. And, you know, everybody has something to say about the quarterbacks and wide receivers. So really when it comes down to it, for me personally, day 2 was cool. It was all right. Some guys I feel like that helped themselves a lot was Josh Allen. I mean, Josh Allen already helped himself at the Senior Bowl, but he really took it to the next level at the Combine. I feel like that he definitely separated himself, in my personal opinion, from a lot of the other quarterbacks. I feel like Josh Rosen did the same thing as well. I feel like Josh Rosen. I feel like with a right coaching staff and the right team, I feel like he can be a good NFL quarterback. Wrong situation, wrong team, bad coaching. I don't see him being a good quarterback. A situation, in my personal opinion, it's not going to happen. But like New England, give him a chance to sit and see how it's supposed to be played. Plus, Josh McDaniels, in my personal opinion, is considered the quarterback whisperer, and I think Sean McVay with the Rams is starting to get that tag too with what he did with Jared Goff. But I see the same thing with Josh Rosen. I think Josh Rosen can do the same thing as Jared Goff did this past season. With the right team and the right situation. And in that situation, I don't feel like he needs to go to a defensive-minded coach because I don't think he gets to see the quarterback position from the offensive side of the ball just yet. You can see it from the defensive side of the ball. I understand that. But sometimes when you got a guy like Doug Peterson and what he did with Carson Wentz in his second year and just how those guys have grown with the right offensive-minded coach in place, I feel like Josh Rosen needs something like that. Like I said, Josh Allen separated himself, in my opinion. I feel like he's the number 1 quarterback in this whole entire draft. By far. Baker Mayfield, I like Baker Mayfield, and I'm not one for mobile. I'm not going to say mobile quarterbacks because he's not really running to run. He's kind of running to throw, and he's smaller. He's a smaller quarterback, but, it's whatever. I feel like he can play at the next level and play really good and really successful. His attitude and all that off the field stuff, it's whatever. What I've noticed with a lot of the most recent draft classes, there's a lot of guys that have that edge to them that just want to win ball games. And Baker Mayfield is one of those guys. And I think he wants to win football games, and you can't blame him for that. Now, some of the stuff is he got to learn how to win, and I think that's the biggest issue. Learn how to win and win like a pro. And I think that's something that you have to work on with him, if anything. In my personal opinion as well, I don't like Sam Darnold at all. I know a lot of people are high on him and feel like he's the best quarterback in this draft or the second best quarterback or however. But a lot of people like him this year, and I'm not a fan of him at all. And like I said, I've said this in the past, and I will always say it. I feel like in a lot of situations every year that we're kind of forced to look at quarterbacks because the quarterback position is a really hard, tough position to evaluate. But at the same time, it's a really hard position to draft and just have starting for the next 10 to 15 years on your roster. And so I always feel like they're kind of forcing quarterbacks on us. I don't feel that way this year. Like with Sam, I do. But Baker Mayfield, his tape doesn't lie. Josh Allen, he's a small school guy. We've seen it, 3-4 times already. We had Carson Wentz. We had it with Ben Roethlisberger. We had it with Joe Flacco. Small school guys, big arm, big body, just come out and play ball. And Josh Allen, I feel like is going to fall right into that category with some of those guys. And technically they're all Super Bowl winners. I mean, technically. Carson Wentz didn't win his, but he played lights out this year. You can't take that from him. But technically, they're all Super Bowl winners. So I feel like Josh Allen, I'm not saying he's going to win the Super Bowl right away, but in the right situation, I definitely feel like he could be a successful quarterback. Who's another guy that I was high on? I think that was it. Oh, that's what I want to talk about. Jackson. I feel like Lamar Jackson is a guy that hurt himself, honestly. And he didn't pass the ball well at all. Like, his passing was average to below average at times. He didn't run the 40, which was disappointing to me because I feel like the one part of his game that everybody wanted to see was what he can do as far as running. If you want to pull the comparisons of Mike Vick, or not Mike Vick, but Cam Newton, or those kind of type of quarterbacks. You got to show that you can run. I mean, Cam Newton came and ran. Andrew Luck ran. I mean, those guys ran, and I feel like Lamar Jackson should have did that, and that would have it would have made his day a little bit better, honestly, in my opinion, because his throwing wasn't there, and there was always murmurs already about him playing wide receiver, and his throwing was just subpar, honestly. And I think that he kind of hurt himself. Like, for a while there, he was a first-round quarterback. Now he's kind of like, late, that Teddy Bridgewater first round where it's like, oh, I like him. I'm just going to trade back up and get him at the 32 overall pick. So now he's a first-round quarterback. But that's the way I look at Lamar Jackson. I feel like that's how he hurt himself. So in my personal opinion, in the top 15, there should only be 3 quarterbacks that goes. Josh Rosen, Josh Allen, and Baker Mayfield. I don't like Sam Darnold. I don't like him in the first round for sure. I feel like he's a second-round quarterback, but that's just my opinion, and I know a lot of people are going to butcher me for that. So that was it for the quarterbacks for real. Moving on to the wide receiver position. With the wide receiver position, you had, your Calvin Ridley. That guy just blew it out, did what he was supposed to, proved what he is. He's an Alabama receiver that produced. And, those guys, when they get to the league, they produce. Like, they don't fail you there. Obviously, the biggest guy on day 2, as far as the wide receiver goes, that helped himself was DJ Chark. I feel like he already did something at the Senior Bowl, and he, balled out the whole entire week of the Senior Bowl, played a great game, had a great game, went to the Combine, proved everything that he showed at the Senior Bowl, and the little bit that he had on tape, he just proved that it was true. Like, that's who he is as a receiver, and I feel like that's a guy that he can slide into the first round. And I got something I'm gonna tell you guys a little later on in the video, but I feel like he definitely can find his way in the first round. Christian Kirk, that guy, I feel like he's going to be a solid number 2 receiver somewhere. He could be a number 1. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking that from him. But when I see him, my comparisons, if I was to do any, it would be like Anquan Bolden. I feel like he has that kind of demeanor and that kind of edge to him at times. He just want to win ball games, and he's a good guy. Can catch balls, run really good routes. He's a decent receiver, and I feel like he's well worth a first-round pick, especially in the later rounds of the first round. I feel like I'd be willing and okay with spending a first-round pick on him if I had to. If I felt comfortable doing. Who's another receiver I was looking at? Oh, Deshaun Hamilton. They didn't really talk about him that much, but I feel like he's easily a day 2, round 2 receiver that is going to make a big impact on the team once he gets there. I feel like that once he gets on the roster, and the rest is history for him, and it's going to be awesome for him. Deion Kane, he actually produced. He did really well as a guy that was on my watch list, and a guy that I was really happy with what he did as far as the Combine went. And then Marcel Aitman. I feel like I just like big body receivers, and you guys know this. And so Aitman's a big body receiver that had, I know he had James Washington on his wide receiver core on the roster with him as well. And Washington, actually, he had a decent Combine. I think he's going to be a round 2 receiver as well. But Aitman, I feel like he's going to be a round 3, round 4 wide receiver that's going to come in, work hard, and find his way on the roster and find his way into a starting position and, Mike Evans some stuff. And that was really it for as far as the receivers went. There was a couple other guys that kind of stood out and things like that, but we'll get in that later on down the road of some guys that I like and just some of my watch list guys that I feel like I'm going to watch throughout this process and, make my sleeper video because I love making my sleeper video. But that was it as far as the wide receiver goes in my mind. Tight ends, Mike Gesicki, dude fucking ate it. He destroyed it. He did what he was supposed to. It's funny because I was watching him at the Senior Bowl, and I was watching his ways running, the way he's moving and everything, and I actually messaged a couple of my friends his film or his highlight tape, and I said, this is Travis Kelce 2.0. And so throughout the whole Combine coverage, they kept comparing him to other random tight ends, but realistically, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, he's exactly what Travis Kelce is today. I feel like he's faster than Travis Kelce. His catch radius is the same as Travis Kelce, probably even better. I don't know if his route running is as up to par where Travis Kelce's is at, but I definitely feel like that in about another year or two, we're going to talk about Gesicki like we talk about Jimmy Graham, Gronkowski, and Kelce as one of the top tight ends, and I feel like he's going to make a big impact. First round, I'm not sure yet. Depends on what teams are there, what teams are desperate for the pick for the tight end position, and not a lot of teams are. You look at a lot of teams that are probably going to be picking around the 20s. They're not really hurting in that area. They're more hurting on like the defensive side of the ball, offensive line, and things of that nature. So it'd be interesting to see if he goes in the first round. In my personal opinion, it might be a situation where the Detroit Lions will mess around and take him in the first round, and he just winds up finding his way in a Detroit uniform. Because I remember one year they took Pettigrew and they took Ebron in the first round. I think they took Ebron in the top 10. Detroit did, which is so frustrating in itself. It blows my mind. I'm just looking up the first round. And then some other tight ends I was looking at. Dermot Schmidt. I think I said that right. Schmidt. He went to Notre Dame. He's a tight end. I feel like he did really well. A guy that's on my personal watch list that I actually enjoyed watching. And I feel like they can have a lot of success at the next level. And then there was the Mark Andrews from Oklahoma. He definitely did look good. They kept talking about him prior to all the tight end workouts. And they were saying that he should be the number one tight end, and he is the number one tight end. In my personal opinion, I got Gesicki. More or less like kind of biased, but I really do like him. But they were talking about how Andrews should be a number one tight end and that he's the guy that a lot of teams or a lot of coaching staff should be looking at. And just because he's like, he can do it all, as far as pass blocking and run blocking and things of that nature. Sorry, I apparently can't find the order here. This is crazy. Oh, here we go. You look at Seattle. Seattle is losing Jimmy Graham. That could be a situation. But once again, Seattle is an offensive line needy situation. Detroit is picking late. And I'm not sure what's happening with Ebron. If I remember correctly, I think he might be up for a contract. Who else? Who else we got here? Not Carolina. Not Tennessee. Not Atlanta. New Orleans-ish, maybe. Probably not. I was thinking Jacksonville in the back of my mind. And it's funny because I'm looking at mock draft and somebody had him going to Jacksonville. Jacksonville is a possibility as well. And then if he falls all the way to 31, I could see New England actually taking him. I could see Gesicki going to New England in the first round. So he has a chance. Like I said, if somebody spend a first round pick on him, especially in the bottom half of the draft, they won't be mad. It'd be a good pick, in my personal opinion. I wouldn't be mad about it. And that was really it as far as day 2 went with all the quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends. That's all I had to say about them. And then we move on to day 3 with the D-line and linebackers. Now, this is what I was talking about that I was going to talk about a little bit later. This draft is very similar in comparisons to the 2016 draft that we just had, 2 years ago. This draft is very similar to that. And what I mean by that, at this point, this draft has 2 quarterbacks going at the top. That's when Goff and Wentz went, There was 2 quarterbacks interchangeable. I feel like there's some quarterbacks in this draft that have separated themselves a little bit. They have separated themselves a little bit, but it's the same situation. Joey Bosa at the top at number 3, elite pass rusher, who went number 3 overall. Elliott went number 4 overall, elite runner. We have one of those. And then Jalen Ramsey at number 5 to Jacksonville, elite pass cover guy. And we have some of those guys here. And that I feel like that might be interchangeable with Quentin Nelson at the top 5. I feel like Nelson can definitely find his way in the top 5. But that's what I meant, though. With day 3, if you go look at day 3, I feel like that draft is very similar to this. The 2016 draft is very similar to this draft class as far as like having some of the trench players that we're going to have in the first round. I feel like we're going to have a lot of trench players, a lot of D linemen, a lot of offensive linemen, a lot of pass rushers. And I feel like that's just what it's going to come down to be. I feel like the first round is going to be extremely heavy defensively. We're talking 32 picks. I think out of the 32, I'm at least saying anywhere from, I'd say 18 to 20 of them are going to be defensive players and some sort of, pass rusher, D-line. Maybe not that. Maybe 15, maybe 5 like offensive linemen, and then, somewhere in there. Because I can see Will Hernandez and Quentin Nelson. They're definitely going to sneak in there. And there's going to be some other skill position guys that sneak their way into the first round. But as far as the trenches go, the trenches are going to be lit this year as far as defensive line goes, in my opinion, too. Day 3, guys that I thought had a great day. First, you had Deshaun Hand from Alabama. He did what he was supposed to, but I think the person, in my opinion, that stole the day was Deron Payne, the defensive D tackle. What he's going to do for a team in the interior of the defensive line is going to be mind-blowing. The dude ran a 1.6, 10 split, 10-yard split at 308 pounds, 310 pounds, and it was ridiculous. And he ran a 4.940. So when you think about that, that's a lot of size moving really quickly. And he's not just size and speed. Like, he actually has good hands and good just ability to get off blockers. And he's going to either get double teamed and free up some other guys, or he's just going to, like, actually just dominate. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think he's going to eventually dominate his first year. And then somebody's going to try to slow him down, but it's going to be too late at that point. I could see him going in the first round. I think what he did at the Combine on day 3 definitely helped himself out tremendously into the first round. Harold Landry was a Boston College pass rusher. I feel like killed it, helped himself out a lot as well. Who's another guy who's on there? Obviously, we got Bradley Chubb. Chubb just came out and solidified himself as the top pass rusher in this draft class, and that guy that should be okay with taking in the first 5. Like I said, we got an elite pass rusher, and Chubb is that guy. And I think he just went out there and solidified himself as that guy. Sorry, I'm just like keep looking at my laptop because there's just so much I had to catch up on. But I definitely feel like Chubb is that guy, just like a Bosa. Not going to pull the same comparisons, but I think just a guy that you can play start day 1 and just be happy with what you're going to get out of that. Guy that I was personally looking at, Kyle Pitts, Utah. I feel like he's going to play outside linebacker, but I think he's going to be a hybrid guy. He's going to drop back in coverage a little bit, but that's a guy that I'm really happy with the way his combine went. I was really excited about, and I think that he's going to do some work, man. I don't know. He's just the guy I've been watching since Senior Bowl. He's one of my hype guys, the guys that I'll probably hype up through this whole process and throughout the season. Hopefully he gets to a team where he can start and show what he really has, because I feel like he's going to have a chance to do something. And that was it. That was all the defensive linemen that I wanted to talk about. So Payne, Chubb, Fitz, Han, just those are like main names. BJ Hill, he had a good day as well. But I feel like Payne definitely worked himself into the top 20 of the first round with what he did. I think that it would be insane for any team inside the 20 to pass him up as far as taking him in the first round. But he definitely killed it at the Combine on day number 3. And then we had some linebackers that came out. Now the linebacker position, in my personal opinion, is wild. I think we're gonna get our next superstar middle linebacker out of this draft class. And I'm not sure who it's gonna be just yet. And I'm really, really trying to find a guy, but I feel like there's gonna be a guy in this draft class that's gonna be the next, Brian Urlacher, Ray Lewis, Patrick Willis, Luke Kuechly, just that middle linebacker, that we love, that everyone loves, and just you hate that your team has to play him 2 times a year. It might be Trey Emmons, and he had a really good day, and I'm like, that dude's really good. Hopefully he stays inside and plays balls out there. Owen Burks is a Vanderbilt linebacker. I hope he plays inside. That's what I have wrote down. And if he plays inside, I'd be really excited. I like the size. I like the speed. I like what he brought to the table. And he looked fairly decent in the drills. I feel like just a lot of these players in this draft class is going to need a lot of coaching, and hopefully they find themselves in the right situation. There was the USC pass rusher. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, but he plays outside right now. But once again, another guy that I wouldn't mind seeing inside. Like, I don't know. I just feel like the NFL is due for another superstar middle linebacker, and I think that's where we're at right now. I think we're trying to come up on it. I mean, C.J. Mosley is my dude, and Bobby Wagner is my dude. But I feel like we're about to get our next big-time superstar linebacker out of this draft class. And it's just all the linebackers came out, killed it, produced. Obviously, Shaquem Griffin, sorry. He did what he was supposed to. And he just, what can you say? What more can you say about that guy? He ran a 4.38 at 227. He's going to probably play safety at the next level. I feel like that's where he's going to have his strongest suit. Some teams probably going to have him drop 5 to 10 pounds and say, hey, just play safety for us, roam around, and do what you do best, make plays. I don't see him playing linebacker just because of his size. With his size, playing in the trenches and that close to the line of scrimmage, I feel like offensive linemen are going to get their hands on him, and they're just going to neutralize him from there, and it's just not going to work out for him. If the right team takes him, they're going to know how to use him, and they're going to use him correctly. And hand to no hand, dude is a baller, in my personal opinion, and he literally stole the day on day 3. He did everything he was supposed to. Put up 20 reps on the bench. That was insane. And I think that was really impressive in itself. So he's going to move to safety. I can almost guarantee that. He's going to be a second-round pick. Just looking at what he does, he might sneak his way in the first round, maybe. But for sure, he's going to be a second-round pick, and he's just going to ball out. He's going to be crazy. He's going to be legit. I'm excited to watch him play. So that was really it, all I had for day 3. There were some highlight guys. just like I said, I feel like we're gonna get our next big time linebacker out of this class. Who that may be? Maybe Raekwon Smith. Roquan Smith. I can't even say it. It may be him. Fred Warner from BYU. I like the way he looked. He was on my watch list, on my personal watch list, and just my watch list is crazy long with just defensive players. So that's why I feel like it's going to be a really true defensive heavy draft. I was more excited about what the defensive side of the ball did over the last 2 days than I was the offensive side of the ball. So we just move on to the D-backs in day 4 and today. And the safeties really took the show, in my opinion. I think there's going to be a lot of quality safeties come out of this class. Me being a Chiefs fan, the fact that we traded away Marcus Peters pisses me off because I feel like we could have finally got our number 2 corner and would have been good. But now we're trying to find a number 1, number 2. We're trying to find safeties possibly. The thing is this is the class to be hurting for those positions. To be hurting at the linebacker position, not hurting at the D-back position. This is the class where I feel like you can get some quality starters, third to fifth round that possibly can come in and compete for a job, and not only compete but possibly get a starting job for your roster or for your team. Terrell Emmon, he actually looked really fucking good. Like, he looked amazing. A round 2 guy that I hope falls to the Chiefs. I don't see him going in the first round, but he falls to the Chiefs in the second round. Best believe we better be drafting him. Mika Fitzpatrick. Just wow. I did like a little mini mock draft in my mind just for the top 10, and I always had the Browns getting Mika Fitzpatrick at 4 with hesitations and reserves. Like, I was like, maybe they should get him there. And the reason why I felt that way is because a lot of people said he should play safety, which he should. I feel like that's where he's going to get a lot of his play at. But they made a good point today during the broadcast. They said that he's just a bulked up Tyrann Mathieu, and I'm like, that's true. And realistically, Tyrann Mathieu can do the same thing as Fitzpatrick can do. Or, Fitzpatrick can do the same thing as Matthews has done. As far as playing corner, play safety, he play your sub dom linebacker. Like, it's insane what he can bring to the table. And especially at his size, he can cover a lot of tight ends. And his speed is good. He ran really well. I wrote down, this is what I wrote down. The way I look at him, and even though Tyrann Mathieu is in the league and doing it right now, and no one's talked about it. And I think the reason why we haven't said much about Tyrann Mathieu, we know he can ball. When he's healthy on the field, the dude can ball, but that's the biggest thing. He kind of stays banged up and kind of missed seasons, and that's just the biggest thing. With Fitzpatrick, hopefully he can stay healthy. What I wrote down was new age Troy Polamalu. And that's what I kind of see him as. I feel like that guy that Troy Polamalu was always the 11th defender. And what I mean by that is you had 10 guys that were going to do what they were supposed to, but you had this wild card defender. Like, you knew there was 11 men on the field, but you had this wild card guy, Troy Polamalu. You never knew what he was going to do. I mean, you've seen a man on the goal line defense jump over the offensive line and make a play, You see Troy Polamalu. When I watched him play, it's so amazing. He makes safety play look so fun. When you watch him play, the receiver, him and Ed Reed too, the quarterback will throw the ball, and the receiver looks wide open, and the next thing you know, you see 43 in hair. That's it. You just see 43 in hair, and I feel like Fitzpatrick can do some things like that. I feel like he's gonna be the new age Troy Polamalu, and he's gonna just make plays. Wherever he goes, he's just gonna make plays. I don't care where position you put him at. You put him a corner, you put him a safety, you put him an inside linebacker, wherever he's at on your defensive side of the ball, he will make a play, and you can't take that away from him. Who was some other guy? Josh Jackson looked extremely rough. It looked extremely rough in his drills, especially his back pedals and things like that. But then they said that he only played D-back for a year and a half, which I had no idea. And so that explains everything. He still hasn't logged those hours like a lot of the guys that's just been playing, corner since they came out of high school. And so with him, I feel like he's still going to go in the first round. And I'm going to tell you why. The reason why is because he reminds me a lot of Malcolm Jenkins coming out. Malcolm Jenkins can play corner. He can ball hawk. He could run with the best of them. He was just that good. The Saints drafted him. They played him at corner for a little bit, and then he finally made the conversion to safety. And when he made the conversion to safety, you seen a different player. You seen a whole new player. And he was starting to find his way when he was with New Orleans. He got out of New Orleans, went to Philly, and you just seen him completely grow into that position and what he's done for the Eagles over the last couple of years since he's been there, it's just been mind-blowing. As far as from a leader position and as far as just a playmaker position. He's been doing everything. And I feel like Josh Jackson can be that for some team. I feel like some team is going to come out of the gate and say, hey, you're our new Malcolm Jenkins. You're going to play safety out of the gate. We're not going to waste any time at you playing at corner. We're going to put you as safety and let you make plays. Because he can play. He just look rough, you know. And you don't want to be rough coming out of the back pedal in your first couple of years. A lot of receivers will eat you up, and then you start losing playing time, and you just can't really work on your craft at that point. Or you just work on your craft on your own time. But you know, who are some other guys? Quentin Meeks from Stanford. That dude, he looked awesome. He looked good at 6'1". He ran well. Who are some other guys? Nick Nelson from Wisconsin looked really good. I think he has a chance to play some. That was a guy on my watch list. Like I said, and then Denzel Ward. I'm mad that he didn't do the on-field drills. And I want to say it would hurt him, but his tape is just too good for it to hurt him. He ran a 4.3 and said, I'm done for the day. See you at Ohio State when I go do everything else. And that's pretty much it. And he's going to be a top 10 pick because he ran good. His tape is good. He's going to kill it as drills on pro day and go about his life. This video is going to be really choppy and really weird. Just saying. That's all I really have for you guys on this video. Sorry it was so long. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to put everything together or do my day by day by day. But I'm happy with the way everything looks so far. And this combine has shown me something. As far as a Chiefs fan, and if any of my Chiefs fans are watching this, we're okay. We're fine. Going into this draft, I was kind of mad that we didn't have a first-round pick. Now I'm okay with the idea. Just because, like I said, this draft is very resemblant to the 2016 draft. And just looking at some of the lists, we had Laremy Tunsil and Ronnie Stanley go at the top. That's pretty much your Quentin Nelson and your Will Hernandez right there, Jack Conklin was another guy. That's probably going to be one of McGliston. I can't remember his name. One of the other tackles. But that's the guy that you can look and go there. DeForest Buckner, Deron Payne, some guys like that. Or let's see who else we had. We had Carl Joseph go at 14 to the Oakland Raiders that year. It's just, stuff like that. I feel like you look at this draft class, you look at some of the defensive linemen, and just D-backs and defense altogether. You had Artie Burns, Will Jackson, Kenny Clark, Sheldon Rankins, Carl Joseph, Keanu Neal, Shaq Lawson, DeForest Buckner, it's Jalen Ramsey, Joey Bosa. So we had a lot of defensive guys. Like the tail end of the draft, you had Robert Nkemdiche and Vernon Butler go in the first round. And so that's what we're getting. That's what this class is going to be. That year, the Chiefs actually traded back, so that's why I'm okay with it. We traded back and got Chris Jones at the top of the second, and I think that's what's going to happen this year. I think we're going to get a defensive player late in the second round. Hopefully it's around the Edmond brothers. It's probably going to be the safety guy, which I'm cool with. But looking at everything else, we're fine as far as the Chiefs go. This class, in my opinion, I think it's extremely top-heavy, obviously. So you're going to get all your quality talent within the first 25 picks. Everything from that point on, I think, is going to be a lot of development talent with issues or injuries or off-the-field issues or some of that nature. From, I would say at the top of the second, maybe mid-second, all the way up until top of the fourth. That's what you're really going to find. All those guys are going to be able to play, I guarantee you, because everybody in this class looks like they can play. But they're going to have some kind of off-the-field issue, some kind of injury bug or something like that that's going to really kill them. And then in the later parts of the draft, you might find a gem or two. We got Tyreek Hill in the fifth, and I think that's where a lot of those we're going to find a lot of those guys there. But that's all I have for you guys today. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're not a footballologist yet, go and subscribe to the YouTube channel, become a footballologist today, and stay safe, football fans.